So, the tragedy is that we do things sometimes with the best of intentions, and then we don't realize what happens with those intentions in real life. And in real life, and I use the example of someone protesting outside of an abortion clinic, because it is something that happens on a regular basis, and it is something that people go to jail for, sometimes intentionally, because they want to protest what they believe is wrong. And protest is at the heart of our government. The ability to protest and say that something is wrong is covered by our First Amendment to our Constitution. Secondarily, what is also normally covered by the Constitution is not covered in this bill. Because what you would have the ability to do in this bill is to tell agents of the press, people in the media, that they had to step back beyond some arbitrary line or they could go to jail. There's not even an exception in here for people that are card-carrying members of the press who want to figure out what is going on, what actions the government is taking against its own people. And ladies and gentlemen, that is why we have the Bill of Rights. This is not the 19th, and we've talked about this before. This does not come at the end and, oh, by the way, this is number one. And number one, before you tread on it, you should decide that you have enacted the strictest way to measure, the strictest ability for someone to do their job and not have interference. Do not buy into the fact that someone is working on a patient and somebody can come up and bother them and not go to jail. Typically, those persons are family members. The young man that I represented who lost his son in a car accident, and he wouldn't stay away while they put his son on the stretcher because he knew that his son was dying. Jail. I said, back up. Officer, take him to jail. This is a reality. Because we don't mandate that you use good judgment. We don't talk about the warning. We don't catch the fact that, wait a minute, you don't appear to be helping my child. And I'm a doctor. Can I come closer? I said, back up. And that's it before they go to jail. And at some point, we ought not be in such a rush to just pass things because somebody brought it up and it sounded like a good idea at the time. We ought to stick to the oath that we all took and read the Constitution that we swear we're going to uphold and say to ourselves, wait a minute, we can do better than this. We can do better than this. Because guys, if causing a distraction, and without any definition as to what a distraction is causing a distraction is worthy of arrest, then we've got a problem. If an EMT cannot do their job and they have been bothered by someone who is not a family member, someone who is intentionally trying to get in their way, it is called disorderly conduct and you go to jail right now. You don't need another law for it. You go to jail for it right now. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, if you use profanity on the side of a highway, you can go to jail. It's called disorderly conduct. It's already in the law. So why do we need this ability to arrest more people for standing within 25 feet? My God, would it have been too much for us to say, if an officer asks you to please stand on the other side of the road, that is enough? That at least sounds reasonable. But 25 feet? Because when he orders you to back up and you then go 14 feet, which is a good ways away about where he thought 25 feet was, he would have gone to jail. Now, mind you, I'd have gone to get him out for free because I like him, but he can't count. He's a lawyer. Like, we don't have appreciable skills, and we'd have been something else. Like, it is what it is. But the recognition is, even with his law degree, he's too close. Even as someone presenting the bill, he would be in jail from this officer who has said to somebody else, because read the bill, it doesn't say the warning must be directed to the person. It just says you have to issue a warning. So I can be talking to Jermaine and arrest case, because that's in the bill. Please, please do better. Believe that the First Amendment means more than that. Believe that you have a right to witness what is going on around you in your neighborhood in front of you to your own children, because we do not exempt parents. We don't exempt grandparents. They go to jail just like everybody else. And the beauty is they only have to pay $1,000 to get out. Well, it's a $500 fine, but in our society, in this state, fines double. So it's $1,000 to get out for you trying to protect your child, for you exercising what you thought was your constitutional right. In fact, what you know is your parental right. I've seen barriers set up to stop protesters from interfering with one another. I know that if you don't abide by that barricade, you are in violation of the law already. I know that around abortion clinics, they set up perimeters so that somebody's not standing in the doorway. But I also know that an officer who chooses to go out to the perimeter just to mess with somebody, give a warning, and then be able to arrest everybody within this arbitrary number would be wrong. And yes, I'd go get them all out of jail, but they would be in jail. They would have thought they had a constitutional right, and they would learn very quickly, not in this state. Ladies and gentlemen, I simply ask you to do better, to do more, to demand more, to have a well-defined area, to have a well-defined warning, and to say that the Constitution of this state means something. Please